I want to thank you for all the great responses we have received in the first 3 lessons that we have done on trials. If you had not had a chance to listen to all of them, I would encourage you to go back, go to our Apple Podcasts or whatever your favorite podcast channel is, and go to Yes You Can Lead, and you can find those 3 trials, because really they're the segmented way into what we're going to talk about today. And what I believe is probably the biggest trial we all face, at least is the biggest trial I face, and that's this. The biggest trial in leading is me. One of the things I began to realize is that there's things that I question all the time about myself, and I'm getting in the way more than other people are getting in the way. So one of the things I want to talk about in regards to leading myself or leading through trials is understanding my value, because the truth is I question my value all the time. I love this quote by Rita May Brown where it says, "Lead me not into temptation, I can find the way myself." We can, can't we? We find our way into problems all the time. It's not usually other people that lead me into temptation. It's myself. It's my mind. It's the things that I'm thinking about. I either question why I am doing something, or I question why I'm not doing more. Those are my 2 flaws. I either question why I'm doing this specific job, and I'm going through that right now. I'm not necessarily maybe the right person to be doing the job because I don't have the skill sets, but for whatever reason God has placed me there, and I'm trying to trust Him in that. Or I begin to question why I'm not doing more, because I know I have larger capacity, and why is it that God's not giving me more right now? It's something that Moses went through when he was kind of wandering within the wilderness, is that he kind of got comfortable. And he wasn't asking himself why he could do more, but he was asking, really, am I able to do these things? And he's not the only one. Joshua, right before he leads the Israelites, God has to remind him over and over again, I am with you. Do not fear. I am with you. And leaders after leaders after leaders throughout all of Scripture, God has to remind them that He's with them. They're questioning themselves. They're going through trials because of themselves. And one of the things that I have begun to realize within myself is that I overanalyze everything. I overanalyze how people are thinking. I overanalyze what my boss might be thinking when he's talking to me. I'm reading into his language. I'm reading into his emails. I'm reading into his text messages. If it's not him, I'm reading into my wife and what she might think about it, or I'm reading it. It doesn't matter what the circumstances is. I'm constantly reading into it. And I've had to learn to kind of take a step back, because they actually create trials within my life that can be uncontrollable, and then I begin to doubt exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I need to stop overanalyzing everything. I need to trust. But for whatever reason, I struggle with that. But the second thing that I struggle with is that I seem to hide from my problems. I don't know if you're like that or not, but I hide from them. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that I don't present to people what I'm struggling with. I don't even really have a true accountability partner, because every time I seem to have an accountability partner, it's almost as if I become their accountability partner more than they are my accountability partner. And they begin to lean on me more. And I'm trying to figure out some of that, and I begin to realize that the reason is because sometimes I'm not as transparent with them as I should be, or I'm just too transparent, and they run away because they kind of get scared. See, I have a tendency to hide from my problems. I hide because I don't trust. That could be a problem. I don't know if you're someone like that, but I hide because maybe I don't trust the person that I'm having a conversation with to actually share everything that is there. Which comes to the second one is I hide because of fear. I hide because I'm afraid of opening up, or I'm fearful if I say that I might lose my job, or whatever the case might be. We all have these things within our lives that causes us to fear. Basically, that causes us to hide from our problems. And the third thing is that I hide when I try to do life on my own. I'm hiding my problems when I try to do life on my own. You see, God never intended us to do life on our own. But many of us today would just rather be by ourselves because then we don't have to deal with the conflict of people. People are a problem. But it's hard to be a leader of something if you're not leading people. So it's important for us to come to a place of realizing that we can't just hide from our problems. We need to work through those problems. When I try to do life on my own, I'm telling you right now, when I try to do life on my own, I create more problems. Today, I was working through this because in my new role as we have moved down here, because of COVID, the whole 9 yards, I don't feel like I have those relationships that I had before I moved here. I had deep friendships, and when I was struggling, I could go to them. But some things have happened, and now I don't feel like I can go to them anymore. And now I'm trying to build these relationships, but because of fear, I haven't opened myself up the same way as I had opened up myself to those people before. And now I feel like I'm in isolation. And there's even times when I don't necessarily want to open up to my wife because maybe I don't want to put that burden on her or whatever the case might be. And it creates this loneliness. And unfortunately, it puts me in a position where now I'm hiding from my problems and not working through my problems. So there's something I want us to know when we think about working through these things. When we think about value, we can't just question everything all the time. We have to come to a place of trust, and we can't just hide from our problems. And ultimately, and we talked about this actually in our last lesson, is we need to let go. We need to let go. Rich Mullins, he says this, I love this quote. I can't see how you're leading me unless you've led me here where I'm lost enough to let myself be led. Let's read that again. I can't see how you're leading me unless you've led me here where I'm lost enough to let myself be led. The truth is that we've got to stop over analyzing everything about what other people are doing or what I am doing or am I in the right role or am I not in the right role? Wherever you're at in this moment in time, God has you exactly where He wants you. The question is are you trying to lead yourself or are you trying to let God lead you? And for me, when I am at my loneliest places, it's because I'm trying to lead myself and not letting God work through me and let Him lead me. See, all the great leaders in the Bible started being great once they let go. The only time they got themselves into problems is when they did it on their own. I love the story of Joshua and the sin of Achan, because ultimately, before the sin of Achan, Joshua, for whatever reason, in the first battle, he asked the Lord what to do. In the second battle, he just goes ahead without asking. And I believe if he would have just asked, God would have said, wait a minute, there's sin that you need to deal with. And because he didn't do it that way, he lost the battle, and all of a sudden he loses hope and all those types of things. But then when he gets a second chance, he goes to God and says, God, what do I need to do? And God tells him how to win the battle. We need to let God go before us and let Him be our leader. I need to stop trusting in people and start trusting in God bringing the right people for me to lead alongside Him. I hope this has been an encouragement to you, and we're going to talk some more about some specific trials as we continue to go through this series on trials. But remember, don't let your life be the biggest trial in the way you lead. Give yourself over to the Lord. Let Him lead you. Thank you for listening and learning some of those amazing truths that we are learning together on trials. If you enjoyed this podcast, would you be willing to do two things for us? Would you do this? Share the podcast with every one of your friends. You can easily do this by sharing this on any of your social media platforms. You can also like us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and tell all of your friends about that. Maybe there is a topic you would like for us to discuss. Just put it in one of those comment sections, and I would love to answer some of those questions and maybe work through some of these things together. Share those with us as well. we really do want to grow in our understanding of leadership together with you. This is not just about what I'm going through. I want to do this with you. The second thing you can help me with is write a review. Please make some comments and let us know what you think of the podcast. I hope this has been an encouragement, so thank you again for taking the time to be with us. We look forward to connecting with you again, and until next time, this is Chip Nightingale, and yes, you can